Mubadala. I'm part of the employee engagement team and I look after culture and values. So the campaign started after our merger with the International Petroleum Investment Company, and it was an opportunity for us to go back to leadership and talk about what values they see are appropriate for the company moving forward. So that was our first step, to get the direction from leadership. Once we got their feedback, we also engaged employees and other leaders in the company in a process to simplify our values and the behaviors, make them more clear and communicate about them more often. So I always see us as sort of facilitators of the process. It's not really the input of communications into our values and culture. It's more of us hearing from the company and relaying, and it's very much an iterative process, which is what we followed. And once we got the direction and we sort of tested it out in smaller groups, we then rolled it out to all employees. And the campaign, we really tried to give it its time. We didn't want to rush it. It wasn't just a ticking the box exercise, but it was actually over 4 weeks. We have 4 different values and we decided to dedicate a week to each value. And we used quite a number of channels. We wanted to make sure that different people can participate in things they're interested in, whether it's things on the internet where they can go and vote on the polls that we put up, or attending a discussion with a leadership panel, or we created like these playing cards boxes. So whichever the employee was interested in, they could still sort of participate and experience the new values. As I said, it was to make employees aware of the values, because we had employees who were part of Mubadala before, and it was an opportunity to reaffirm them. But then we had a new group of employees coming in who weren't aware of the values, so we wanted to make sure that, at first and foremost, they know what they are. Second is that we wanted them to feel like the behaviors are clearer and more relatable and easier to remember, so that then ideally they're easier to live by. And third, we wanted it to be a very engaging exercise. So it's not just communicating to employees, but actually giving them a voice in the campaign. So I'd say those were the 3. So some of the traditional ways, including like activity on the internet, how people responded, the accuracy actually of their responses, the attendance, but then also a lot of sort of in-person feedback, hearing from them, and we did some traditional surveys as well after each discussion on a value. We wanted to see if people feel like they have a better understanding of the value, are they able to relay it, etc. And we were happy that they responded quite positively. And for me, actually, one of the biggest measures of success was that when we presented the refined behaviors, we got almost no pushback, or were not challenged with it. For me, that's sort of shows that people feel like they can relate to it and it works for them. So, I think there are 3 challenges, I'd say. One is the one that's probably common in many places, some classic sort of design challenges or printing challenges, those kinds of things. So easy to deal with. The other was that it's very much an iterative process. So while you're working on it, you can sort of lose momentum, but you have to really keep at it for it to move forward. Well, I think the way we dealt with that is that we were sort of there for each other and supporting each other in those highs and lows, so that helped move it forward. And then the third thing is, it's always a struggle to get people to attend things that you're hosting. People are busy, and the way we overcame it was that we would, for example, we hosted the session on the first week, then we'd post about it on our intranet so people can see, actually something took place in one, they can sign up for the next one. We would send reminders, and we created sort of intimate settings. We didn't want it to be too big, and we also hosted them at the different locations. So we have 4 buildings, so we actually went to the people. We didn't only host them sort of like this building, which is seen as HQ. No, we actually went to the different buildings. I think that helped. I think for me the highlight was similar to like how we measured success. I think that it was very well received. It was a long process. It was probably about 4 months of work, but every step of the way felt like it was the right step, and people responded positively. So for me, that in itself was a highlight. I think because we gave employees a voice and gave them an opportunity to participate. It was both bottom up and top down. So hopefully different levels in the company felt like they were represented, and there were different ways for people to get involved. So those who have time constraints or commitments, there are still different ways that they can be part of the conversation. So I'd say maybe that was why it was successful.